Hello and welcome, folks. It is the Black Rose here, and it's time to review season 2 of the Fallout TV show. So, love it, love it, love it. Yeah, I've loved this show since the very beginning. I actually predicted before season 1. I think this is going to be a smash hit. and here we are now. Yep, called it. All right, so just like season 1, its major strength, the core of it, is that it's true to Fallout. It feels like the games, just a different medium. So, yeah, like, loved it start to finish. I feel like I'm in the Fallout universe, just, not holding a controller. Right, so, yeah, and strong New Vegas vibes here, strong references, like, saw the Kings, saw the Great Khans. Right, so, yeah, just sprinkling little things like that in there, all help it along, help us feel like we are in the same universe. And yeah, New Vegas is a classic game, man. So yeah, I love that game. Yeah, I think it was a fantastic choice for season 2. And now for the third season, looks like we might actually be going into more Van Buren vibes, if you know what that is. Right, so Van Buren was Black Isle Studios, the original Fallout developers' idea for the third Fallout game, for Fallout 3, which ultimately became Bethesda's Fallout 3. Interplay goes bankrupt, they sell Fallout to Bethesda, and what was at the time a spin-off game becomes the third canonical Fallout game. Oh, yep, there we have it. So, yeah, and it would have taken place in like the Colorado, Utah area, and sounds like they plan to just kind of keep going east originally. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with it. And I do expect we are going to start out in New Vegas, at least for some of the time early on, because we have some unfinished business there. A lot of cliffhangers here, so at the very least, I think Lucy and Maximus are starting out there. Probably picking up right where they left off in the Lucky 38. Yeah, so guess we'll see. Now let's dive into some individual storylines. So Cooper Howard, the Ghoul. So just like season 1, he's by far the best character. Like Walton Goggins, a fantastic actor, perfect for this. And yeah, he is the soul of the show, I feel like. Right, and I like that he's starting to warm up to Lucy because he reminds her of what he used to be like. I've seen some people suggesting that like it's more his wife because the lines like they both say something along the lines of like doing the right thing. So I think that's part of it, but really it's more I think himself. Like earlier on in the show, like he tells her, what I was like before I was like this. I was exactly like you. Right, so I like how like what's happening with them is the Ghoul is sort of warming up to Lucy because she reminds him of what he used to be like. And maybe he's coming back a little bit from the dark side there. Right. And at the same time, Lucy's kind of getting corrupted by the wasteland. She's becoming more like him. So yeah, there's a beauty to that. They're kind of closing in on each other from two different sides. Interesting. Right, so now let's talk a bit more about Lucy. So, continued her Wastelander transformation. Yeah, I didn't really feel like there was anything new with her. Just kind of a continuation of, she's becoming corrupted by the Wasteland. Yeah, she's being forced to make some unfortunate decisions because that's just how it is out there. And yeah, I'm fine if they're not really being much new with her. Why mess with something that's working? You know what I mean? Like, I'm always much more invested in the plot than, the internal struggles of every character. I feel like it's kind of a trope now how every character ever is this dysfunctional person, and, their show or, whatever is about how they're dysfunctional. But yeah, I'm always much more a fan of plot-focused storylines with you need interesting characters. They need to be interesting somehow, but they don't always have to be, people in need of help. Right. So, yeah, pleased with Lucy's storyline. Think she got a nice resolution with her father, with Hank, and I'm excited to see what happens next. Now, the pre-war storyline, this might have been my favorite storyline of the show. Yeah, I love seeing Mr. House as a human because we've only ever seen him as that face on the screen in New Vegas. So it was neat to see like how he actually walks and talks, and I think it was fitting. Sometimes leaned a little bit on the crazy genius kind of side, but I guess it worked in the end. Like at the end of the day, he still is one of the smartest people in the world, right? So yeah, it worked out well. Acted the pompous guy well. Every dollar spent is a vote cast. Yeah, I really liked how Justin Theroux portrayed him. Right, and especially like the line "everyone works for me eventually," like understanding that cycle, like that's part of what makes House so interesting. Like he just plays the great game and wins. He's one of those characters, and yeah, it works well on screen just like it did in the games. Now let's talk about the Vault storyline. So yeah, I absolutely adore, love seeing the vaults fall apart because it's so much like the stories that we find in terminals and notes, when we delve into these abandoned vaults in game. It's exactly the kind of story we find reading on a terminal. Like, I forget the number, one of the vaults in New Vegas is like, you don't want to get elected overseer because the overseer gets killed. Like everyone tries to avoid getting elected, right? So yeah, it's exactly like that, but in the games, we never see this part of the story. Just because of how that medium works, we never get to see the actual unfolding of the chaos. But the show has done a fantastic job giving us that experience. Yeah, just a genius use of this medium to tell that story in a way that's meaningful in a different way to us. I think, yeah, Jonah Nolan, yeah, the writers, yeah, sorry, not going to remember everyone's name right now, but yeah, a genius right here. I absolutely love what you're doing with these vaults. Yeah, and it cracked me up too, like people in 32 getting lost to like in that first episode when Davey turns to a wall because he's so used to there being a door there. That cracked me up. Right. And honestly, it makes sense. Like, there's no reason to criticize it because, Vault 33 is all they've ever known. Like, so yeah, that's their world. So it's understandable that, yeah, it would weird them out that suddenly things aren't where they usually are. Yeah. It sets up Woody getting to the wrong place at the wrong time. And yeah, I adore it. And man, that Reg's club, that was so funny. That, yeah, those two people, like, you mean we're not gonna change the rules? No. That was so funny. Yeah, that cracked me up. Yeah, well-placed humor makes nearly any show better. Like, the example I use for this is Avatar: The Last Airbender, believe it or not, where the humor there is just so well placed. It doesn't dramatize anything. It does make you laugh, and yeah, like when that line is walked really well, it enhances the experience, and yeah, it doesn't detract from the serious nature of whatever it is you're trying to do. So yeah, very well done there. Now, Maximus's storyline to me felt very rushed, like especially in the middle where we kind of just lose him. Right, so he leaves Area 51 right as things get interesting. Like that was lame to me. Like that, like I said, I'm more a plot person. Like, yeah, he leaves right as stuff gets heated. Then yeah, we never revisit that until the after credits scene in the finale. So yeah, I wasn't a fan of that. And his big moment in the finale, taking off the armor. So it took me kind of an overnight to understand what Kilter was trying to do there. So here's my take on it. If I'm wrong, someone correct me. But here, yeah, as a writer and a critic myself, here's what I think they were going for there. So I think him taking off the armor symbolizes him realizing that being a hero isn't about being tough. It's about being noble. Right. So, and then, him doing that caused other people to stand up as well. We got Thaddeus, his buddy, started sniping, and and that man in the store wanted to go out, but he didn't. So yeah, for that to be the powerful moment that it really should have been, really more people needed to go out and help him, right? That man and some other people needed to at least go outside, and they didn't necessarily need to actually fight the Deathclaw. The NCR can just show up and save them at that moment, but we needed to see that they were willing to stand with him. because he showed that he was noble, not just a tough guy, right? And also, with pacing, we needed to see more of his internal struggle with that in the middle of the show, to help us understand that he's starting to realize that there's something wrong with how he thinks about doing his hero duties. And then this is when he realizes what it is. It's not about being tough. It's about being noble. So, yeah, I think that was a missed opportunity to deliver a really powerful, big moment there. Now let's lean a bit more into the pacing, because in my opinion, this was the only real flaw of the show, right? So, because they had to jam this all into 8 episodes, they ended up cutting a lot of the minor storylines short because there's just so many storylines now. Just wasn't enough time to really tell complete stories for everyone. The major example is Norm. Now that he's separate from the vaults, and there's a lot going on in the vaults now. There's Steph and Chet, Betty, Reg's new club. I think the vaults had it about right, but the divide between Norm and them, now Norm's storyline just kind of ends up being really short. It just feels incomplete, man. Right. So, yeah, it was nearly pointless because, it needed to be there, because you can't just tell Moises Arias that we need you to go on hiatus because we're not doing anything with your character this season. You can't do that because it's kind of rude. It's just kind of rude to leave a guy hanging like that when he needs work. He's an actor. This is what he does for a living. And also, if you do that, well, maybe he gets another big role somewhere and you lose him and you can't get him back for another season. So, right, I get it. But yeah, what really needed to happen is we needed more episodes. I'll just cut to the chase. We needed more episodes. And also the Brotherhood became separate from Max. And, we kind of just lost the Brotherhood until that after credit scene in the finale. That was getting interesting. Then we were just removed from it. So, yeah, that's what I'll say. We really should have had 10 episodes to make sure that we're delivering on every storyline, including the little ones. Really, I'm enjoying the little ones. Yeah, sure, the Ghoul, Lucy, and Maximus, that's your core trio right there. But I really enjoy, what's going on in the vaults. Didn't enjoy Norm that much. It just wasn't that interesting this season because it needed more time, right? Well, really, I guess if you throw a fourth core storyline in there, the pre-war storyline is kind of core to it. But yeah, we just needed more episodes. Too many things were left incomplete. Now, another major strength of this season, just like last season, is fantastic acting performances and great castings. So, yeah, there's, of course, your core trio, Walton Goggins, Ella Purnell, and Aaron Moten. They were fantastic. Woohoo. But, they get enough recognition. So let me acknowledge some smaller roles. Well, yeah, so, yeah, I thought Johnny Pemberton was fantastic as Thaddeus. Yeah, his delivery in that scene with the kids, was perfect. That line where he's talking to that little girl who got made fun of. He turns back and goes, "Is that true?" That delivery was beyond perfect. I thought at the time, it's such a minor scene, but man, he's playing it well. Yeah, he's a good actor. I like him. So, yeah, also Martha Kelly as Diane Welch. So, that is kind of a boring role. The character's boring, therefore she's boring to us. But that's the point. And she played it really, really well. She's that person no one wants to listen to. And yeah, it was very believable, very well done. Right. And of course, Justin Theroux captured House perfectly. And really so did Rafi Silver. Yeah, the body double. They were both perfect Houses. Right. And I actually do like the idea of him having a body double. It fits the House vision, and yeah, to me it just added to the character. I really, really liked it, actually. Right. And Kumail Nanjiani, yeah, great casting right there. I think he's a really entertaining actor, but I love the man. And thing is, we didn't actually see him much. That ended up being a much smaller role than the trailers kind of led us to believe. So, right. And, like, I wish we'd gotten a little more of him. We kind of got this unresolved thing. Everyone was theorizing that he's a synth, and we don't really know now. But so, yeah, I guess we might not be getting a resolution to that. I think, they kind of just intentionally got us to ask the question just to not tell us the answer. It's kind of lame, but like, who cares? Who cares in the end, right? And it was a good performance by Kumail, right? So, yeah, when he was about to execute Order 66, on those kids, well, he wasn't mean about it. He wasn't like, you all stand over there. He was friendly, joking about it, like, hey, let's play a game. That's exactly how the Brotherhood would approach that, because they don't view themselves as evil, right? That's what you got to remember as a writer. Like, if very few people view themselves as evil, everyone just has these different ideas of what's right. It's like Maximus's line in season 1. Everyone wants to save the world, and they just can't agree on how. Right, so, yeah, I love that performance by Kumail Nanjiani. I love seeing him and stuff. Right, so, more performances. All the Vault Dwellers, they were fantastic, and they cracked me up. They were... that's what I think I like so much about the Vault storyline, is they crack me up, those actors. Just to throw some names out there. So Leslie Uggams as Betty. Yep, great performance there. Yeah, and she's become a more interesting character than she was in the first season. It's because now she's got a problem to deal with. All right, there's a conflict for her. Right, Annabelle O'Hagan as Steph. She's gotten interesting, hasn't she? Now that we know what she went through to get into that vault. Now a lot of what we've seen from her makes sense. Right, and I like where they're going with that, and I imagine that storyline picks up right where it left off in the next season, with her in her office, everyone trying to get in. Yeah, I wonder how it's going to play out. Right, so also Rodrigo Luzzi as Reg. Yeah, or is that Luzzi? Sorry, not sure, but yeah, he cracked me up. Him like partying with his club, I'll call it. That smile on his face. He's proud that he's gotten these people together to support each other, when really they're just all having snacks and dancing around. That was great. Dave Register as Chet, right? So, yeah, he played that really well. Like, you kind of forget about him in, with everything going on in the show. I feel like you kind of forget about Chet, but man, did he play that well. Like, finding those glasses in the garbage disposal, like that eerie look on his face. Like, what's going on here? And him picking the wedding moment to out Steph. And it's like, hey, I got her. That was a great performance. Yeah, fantastic performances, actors. Round of applause. So I've seen some critics say that they're upset that we got left on so many cliffhangers. And I get the desire for more resolution, right? I feel what they're feeling, but at the same time, I think this is a very effective way to end the season 2, because now that the show's a hit, Ken Kilcher knows that they can get at least 2 more seasons, probably 4 if they keep making a good show, right? It's the perfect time to leave us wanting more. Now, like, the thing with season 1s is you're usually on a 1-season contract, so writers tend to end those in a way that the story ends in a way that's satisfying, in case they're not granted a season 2. In case they're told, we're not making money on you, you're fired. Wahaha. Yes. There's an unfortunate thing that happens to writers sometimes, but yeah, like when you know that you're a hit, like you've got it, like it's good to leave your audience wanting more. It makes them do things like this, makes content creators go crazy, keeps buzz around the show going, until you've got the next one ready. So yeah, kudos. I like ending a season 2 like this. Right, and well, let's talk about some of those questions, right? So yeah, I addressed some of them in my instant reactions on Instagram last night, but let's talk about some here. So the Enclave is back. So major question there is how does that impact Fallout 5, right? So, yeah, there's a popular theory that Fallout 5 is going to take place in San Francisco, and I think there's a significant chance it's right. So, yeah, like, I guess depends where the Enclave's at. Based on like what we saw in the finale, I'm wondering if that facility is in Alaska. You know, it's snowy, right? Though, or or in the Rocky Mountains, maybe. Maybe that's in Colorado. That's where Cooper Howard's on his way to. But yeah, I could see either of those things being true. All right, so yeah, if the Enclave is now the big bad again, like the thing I'm not a big fan of about that is it kind of demeans the endings of Fallouts 2 and 3. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel like we triumphed over Eden, like we felt like we did following that game. Like, I feel like we always kind of had this idea that maybe there are Enclave remnants scattered around, but like now that they're this big bad again, like I feel that demeans those two games a little bit. But it is what it is. I do like the Enclave. I think they're a good antagonist. And I'm excited to see John Clancy, President Clancy, as the new supervillain. Yeah, and Hank's monologue ties into this. So somehow Vault-Tec, or really the Enclave, now we know, somehow they gave the Wastelanders orders before the war. They somehow preconditioned people to accept these chips. That seems to be what we're seeing with the chips. Like, you know, Hank was experimenting with them, people's heads kept exploding, except the Wastelanders. So, seems like maybe he didn't know. Like, maybe he's just discovering that himself. Like, yeah, and that's what he figured out with those experiments, is the Enclave has somehow preconditioned Wastelanders to accept them. Alright, so I wonder if they did that actually through radiation, did something to the actual nuclear bombs that made that possible. And I think that'd be pretty cool. Right, and it reminds me of something that Chris Avellone said about, yeah, in some AMA, I don't remember where he said it, but yeah, some question he answered about Gex, you know, the Garden of Eden creation kits. So yeah, he was asked, like, how did those actually work? He said, we never really knew. there was a vague idea that maybe on the moon, Vault-Tec had preconditioned certain areas to accept it. Like, and that's more believable science than they can just terraform like that, right? So yeah, that's what this Enclave thing reminds me of, is they've somehow used radiation to precondition Wastelanders to accept these chips and thus control them. It's probably in their grand plan to reestablish themselves as the government, right? It makes the citizens docile, makes them, they're planning to just use these chips to force them to accept, the Enclave, President Clancy, as their leader. At least that's my guess for now. Right, and yeah, Steph, if she calls the Enclave, that's why she wanted Hank's little bag. And now that we know they were married before the war, so yeah, my guess is next season, part of the pre-war storyline is going to be the Enclave kind of recruiting them, or at least Hank. So yeah, that's at least it makes sense from what I've seen. Right, so yeah, and that kind of establishes that it was probably Clancy Brown that Hank was calling in the first episode. Like, honestly, seeing that the first time, I thought it was just going to be House. It's like, yeah, I bet he is just working for House. But no, it looks like he is working for the Enclave. So, well, we kind of know that he is now, right? So, yeah, I imagine that he was calling President Clancy Brown. Right, but what is Phase 2? And how does that involve the vaults, right? I guess maybe it doesn't. Maybe Steph just doesn't know what it is, so she's just saying it, hoping it does something good. But yeah, one could be, like I was saying last night, could be cloning. Maybe they're hoping to use those people to clone new non-Wastelander people. Or maybe there's some kind of control group, because we know the chips only work on the Wastelanders. Maybe there's some kind of control group for some experiment. yeah, I'm not super confident in any of my answers there, but I guess we'll see. And of course, where is Cooper Howard's family? So his wife seems to have left him a clue. I guess we're going to see how that unfolds in the pre-war storyline next season. Right, so yeah, and he's heading for Colorado, right? That was the clue. Colorado was a good idea. So yeah, and that's through Legion territory, isn't it? Legion, they're kind of capitaled, like throughout that midsection of the country there. But I guess we don't know that they still are, because we don't know like what's left of the Legion without Kaisar. So yeah, is that still in their territory, or are there more Legion remnants? Have they kind of all kind of re-established themselves as individual tribes without Caesar to lead them? I'm excited to find out, but I hope we're not done with the Legion, because we've never seen them in their home territory before. We've only ever seen them invading Vegas, you know what I mean? So it'd be cool to see the Legion, like, where they're actually from, on their home turf. Right, so yeah, and so where's Barb? So it could be the Legion has derailed whatever she was planning for her and Janie. Honestly, my guess is Barb is dead. That's my guess. I think the Coop's going to find Janie as an adult. Maybe she's a Legion slave, something like that. That's gonna be dark, but yeah, that's gonna be my guess for now. Another possibility is the Enclave has them, which, yeah, that could be true. And that actually would make some sense, because that would be where the super mutants come in, right? Like, we saw that brief scene. I wonder if that was supposed to be Marcus. Yeah, not sure. So yeah, and they were saying, we need you healthy because a war is coming with the Enclave and we need you to fight in it. So yeah, I'm excited for that. And right, so yeah, my guess with the super mutants is I bet Marcus is rallying an army to fight the Enclave. And he's going to be a new major character next season. Who could play Marcus? Jason Momoa. Yeah, get Jason Momoa to play Marcus. Right, and yeah, what happened to House? So yeah, Bethesda definitely forced them to leave it vague here. Oh, and another content creator, Tunnel Snake Fool, had predicted, or really just noticed, that one of the Securitrons was right beside the computers, just like how Yes Man falls in the games if you pick that route. So yeah, so she's absolutely right when she says that the idea with that is to suggest that the Yes Man conclusion could be the right one. And yeah, like, we know Bethesda forced them to make it so they don't confirm a canon ending to anything. So yep, maybe that was Yes Man Coop was talking to, and he's just using like House's backed up memories somehow. But yeah, something like that. So yeah, kudos to Nikki for calling that out. Yeah, that good eye. It definitely is what they were doing with that Securitron. And a prediction I made that I didn't get it right. Let's face it, I was wrong, but I got close. Is that I predicted Liberty Prime was going to come in this season, and he didn't. But in that after credits scene, we see that Quintus now is looking at schematics for Liberty Prime. So I deserve some credit there for realizing that's the direction they were going in. That yeah, Liberty Prime is coming to the show, but it wasn't this season. It seems like that's going to be next season. And like, maybe the Brotherhood, maybe the thing that unites the Brotherhood is going to be the Enclave being the enemy again. Yeah, maybe that's a Capital Wasteland throwback where they all realize, like, they're the West Coast Brotherhood. That was what's now the Commonwealth Brotherhood that fought the Enclave, right? So, but weren't they enemies in Fallout 2? Yeah, I think so. Like, we know that the Brotherhood doesn't like the Enclave. So yeah, my guess is the thing that ultimately unites them is having to fight the Enclave. And we're going to see Liberty Prime do that. Excited. All right, so let's wrap this up. So Season 2 of the Fallout TV show delivers exactly what we want. It gives us these strong New Vegas vibes, stays true to the games, and yeah, it's very enjoyable start to finish. Right, so it would have benefited from more episodes. And another thing I'll throw in there is could have used some more battles. Like, yeah, sure, we saw action, but I we're missing a big battle, and it looked like we were about to get one with the Legion heading to New Vegas, but yeah, they cut us short there. So yeah, it looks like maybe we're getting two big battles next season. Maybe it opens with the NCR fighting the Legion there, then the conclusion is them all, the NCR, the Brotherhood, whoever comes together to fight the Enclave. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Right, and strong acting performances all around. Yeah, big round of applause for Kilter Films here. Who love you guys. On the rate this season, an 8 out of 10. I think that's fair. Yeah, and that's good. I adored this season. And yeah, on the rewatch, the finale with some people that haven't seen it yet, and that's gonna be fun. Yeah, my dog barks at the dog every time it comes on the screen. Yeah, I have two dogs. Yeah, Poppy will bark at a dog on TV. It's adorable. So yeah, I love seeing her do that. Yep, that's where I'll leave you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.